Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Carr, and this is Cars, Cards, and Coins. And tonight we're going to talk about some pros and some cons of buying silver. Whether you're buying it, as a stacker, collector, investor. Some of these might not apply to everybody, but I'm just going to talk about a few things that, that most of it applies pretty much around the board. But if you're someone that's new, thinking about getting started, maybe you just started, I'm going to talk about a few things, just for you to be looking out for, just some things for you to be careful about, especially if you're starting to buy to help yourself save money. Because if you're an investor in gold and silver, honestly, I do love that investors would watch my YouTube videos. That is, to me, really, really cool. But most investors pretty much, they're at a place financially where I'm not even there, and I say that like, ooh, I'm not there. No, I can assure you, I am not there. Because, and I'll tell you why. Okay, one of the reasons why is because when I started, even after I started doing it right, because I do work for myself. Now, for a long time, I was working for a company that was putting money into a retirement account for me. But I don't work for that company anymore, because one of the things that I did when I needed to start making more money is I started working a second job. Well, I eventually made that my full-time job. But that, even when I started doing it right, I started, buying, and I wasn't putting money into, like the S&P 500. Like they have this fund that I do put money into now called SPY, SPY. And so when I was buying, I was just buying silver. Like that was like my retirement account. But then, and if you look at what silver has done since 1878, it has never gone up on its own unless it was manipulated, like in 1980, without there being some type of, government printing money, inflation, the world going crazy. That's why I, made the video. I said that I don't think, I think silver is exactly where it's at, and I think it's right where it should be. And until silver does something, like, with all the money that's being printed in the last 8 years, an astronomical amount of money, silver still didn't do what everyone kept saying it was going to do. It still just kept going up. I mean, yeah, the dollar, we kept losing value in the dollar, but silver still maintained, like, I think we lost like 200%. Well, silver went up 249%. Yeah, that's one of the pros on silver, is it does keep up with inflation. But I started just buying silver, and I wasn't putting money into any type of mutual fund or index fund. And that's why I did get so much in the amount of time I've been buying, because I was just buying silver as my retirement account. So I am not as good financially as I want to be, or necessarily where I should be. And some of that's because I lost so much time, being a dope head. And then when I finally, started getting back right, I made the big purchase, had to sell it the next week, made the big silver purchase, had to sell it the next week to pay bills. When I started doing it right, even when I started working the second job so I could buy more silver, I still wasn't putting money into a retirement account. I was just buying silver. And for me personally, that was not the right approach. But I'm going to talk about some pros and some cons. And real quick, if you are buying as a saver and you're thinking about just getting started, I got started with Roosevelt dimes, and then I slowly worked my way up. I started buying Ike dollars. These are silver, and this is a great way for anyone to get started. You know, is Ike dollars, because you can get these for like $12 to $14. You know, go to your local coin shop, go on eBay, whatnot, you know, and you can find them. And these right here, this is a commemorative dollar. This is a great way to get started. Another Ike dollar. Oh, that's a Canadian silver. Oh, Canadian silver. Some of my favorite. I mean, look how beautiful that is. You can get these for like $22, $23. You know, I got most of these for 20 bucks. That's another Canadian silver. It's another great way to get started is Canadian silver, because you can get it cheap relative to the price of silver. You know, this is another commemorative dollar. It's another great way to get started. And I started buying that, then I moved up. I mean, look at that stack. That's all Morgans. I mean, look at all that. I mean, that's a lot. Took years and years of buying. You know, peace dollar, beautiful. I mean, and then you just slowly. Here's a great thing. Like, let's say you're trying to save for like an emergency fund, and you're like me. Every single week you get your check, and it just goes so fast. Well, start buying you. Look at this. This is called a Philharmonic. Start buying like 1 ounce a week, okay? And I'm not joking. Silver Eagle. Start buying like 1 ounce a week. And you will just be blown away at, this is a 2 ounce. You will be blown away at how fast it accumulates. And when you get that $1,000 saved up, I promise, there's one thing I can promise you. You will feel so incredible. And then when you get to $5,000, if you can get to $5,000, no one will ever have to tell you anything ever again. Because silver, okay, let's just get into the pros and cons, because that's one of the pros. Well, I guess we'll start with the pros. Silver forces you to start learning economics. I am not a professional. I am not an expert. There are still so many things that I need to learn. But you have to keep up with the silver price, because you don't want to get schmooked. So you have to kind of know what's going on. You have to kind of keep up with the S&P 500, because you kind of want to know what silver is going to do, especially when you start to accumulate. So that is one of the pros. And then you want to be able to buy silver, so either you start working a second job, or you start managing your money better. You stop stopping at the gas station, which is one of the biggest suckers of most people's money, believe it or not, is the dang gas station. I mean, do you know how much money people spend at gas stations? You walk in, you pay, 20 bucks in gas. You grab a Coke, which is now like $3. You grab a candy bar or a bag of chips, another $3, $4. You get, and you grab a can of dip. That's another $7. I mean, before you know it, you done spent almost 40 bucks. And we all, most men, we all do that 3, 4 times, 6 times a week. Almost 7 days a week, we stopping at the gas station. You know? So that is a huge plus, because another pro is the excitement. I mean, there is nothing like grabbing a handful. I mean, the weight. You know, I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just the excitement of holding these coins in your hand and then going through them and trying to, get better deals, because you just want, you just want more and more, so it's just the excitement of it. It's just a fun, exciting way to save money. And it does. You start to learn about history. I mean, some of the things that you can learn, about George Washington and Franklin. You just start learning about things about the ladies that modeled for the portraits, That's another pro of silver, is you start to learn history. And it can, another big pro in silver, and this is a fact because it did it for me, it can absolutely change your life. Especially those of us, see, guys that are investors, most of y'all, you pretty much kind of already have it together. You kind of, because you're buying it with a different mindset. Savers, our mindset is, we want to have as much as we can, as fast as we can, to try to save money. Once you get to a certain point in saving, is you start by nature, just because you want to have different, once you start, once you get, 500 American Silver Eagles or 1,000, maybe not even that many, you start to branch out into, sometimes, not all the time, but you just want different kinds. You want to get, some Philharmonics, or some Australian coins. So you start to branch out, and then you start to learn even more. Silver has just a lot of things that can help you in so many different ways. And I am trying to talk faster, and I'm trying my best not to say okay. My wife said I sound like the principal from South Park, and I ain't gonna lie, it is kind of messing me up trying to talk faster. I keep losing my train of thought, or I keep skipping ahead. But the silver is just, there's just, it did it for me, especially when I started working the second job and started saving, buying it, when I started buying it right. And even when I started buying it right, I wasn't actually buying it right at that time, because I still had no business investing in it, because I just wasn't financially stable, but once I started doing it right, and now especially, and all that's thanks to silver. I mean, it really is. It's all thanks to silver, because it started forcing me to look at my finances differently. And it'll do that. It will do that for anybody. If you don't have the money to start with Morgans, if you don't have the money to start with Silver Eagles or Philharmonics, then start with dimes. But I will say, if you'll cut out a couple, gas station stops a week, I mean, you can start, with Silver Eagles, which is a great place to start, and you will be just so surprised at how fast it builds up. And that's another pro of silver, except for really large, and that is a con also, is when you go to sell it. If you're trying to sell like 7 to 10,000, you may run into some issues, or you may have to go to a couple different coin shops, or you may have, now unless you call like a major online dealer, but then you have to ship it to them, and then you got to wait a couple of weeks. But a pro of silver, and let's say you save like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 worth. I mean, you can get your money in just one quick, easy day. I mean, it's not hard. It's not hard to sell, especially when you're selling, American Silver Eagles. But I will say, Morgan silver dollars, you do have to be more careful with the Morgans and the common date Morgans, because, and this is a con, if you don't know what you're buying, okay, you can pay too much for these. I see a lot of people on Whatnot paying $45, $50, and I'm just hoping that they're not going to have to go sell those immediately. I mean, they're paying like $49, $50 to $50. I mean, $45 to $50 for, 1889, 1885, 1921s, and those are just very, very common dates. And like this one right here is a 1902 O, and that's a very common date, okay? But that is okay because of the condition that it's in. And there's nothing wrong with buying these in lower grade condition, but you just have to be careful what you pay for it. And the reason I say that is if you go to sell, if you need your money and you go to sell them at a local coin shop, they're only going to want to pay you about $22, $23. The most is $25, $26 is all they're going to want to pay you if they are in bad condition. And I want to be clear about that. Like this coin right here. I didn't write that. This is not a $55 coin, okay? This is a $25 coin. And I paid $25 for it. But if I took this to my local coin shop, and she rightfully so would only want to pay me about $22 for it, she's got to keep the lights on. I'm not mad at her. But you just have to be very careful. Let's see. What is this right here? That's an 1890. Oh, that's an 1892. Okay? And there I said it again. Man, okay. 1892. If this is an S, let's see, because if this is an 1892 S, this is a pretty big coin. Let me see. It is. Okay. This is an 1892 S. This is about a $50 coin, even in this condition. So, man, I didn't even realize I had that in there. I need to take that out. So that's not a good example. But common date, and I will do a video on all the common dates. You just have to be careful. You shouldn't be paying no more than $30. So some cons. 4 common dates. 35 at the most for a common date. Because for the Morgans, they'll pay you 25. It just depends on the condition. The condition is everything with silver dollars. You just have to do some research before you really get too big into Morgans, and just really know, what you're getting into. But some cons, and that is one con, is before you get too big into Morgans, you do need to do some research, and the peace dollars. But silver is highly volatile. It is. You know, you can get excited like everybody right now got really excited. Silver almost hit 33. I could, you know, all the silver stackers were hitting the roof. So was I. Don't let me fool you. So was I. But silver's highly volatile. You know, if Mexico and Canada says, okay, Mr. President, we give in, you know, silver's going to come down. And that's okay. You know, it's going to do its thing, but it is volatile. And it does move slowly, which means if you do start buying silver, or if you have a bunch of silver, it's not a get rich quick scheme. You have to be prepared to hold it for 5 years. And that's something that always amazes me. If you go and pin down some of those guys that are saying silver's going to 100, I saw a video the other day, silver $500. Okay, let's go pin them fellas down. So you're saying silver's going to 5? Is silver a fast investment? Is it a quick investment? No, you got to hold silver for at least 5 years. Okay, then hold up. You just said it was going to 500. It's 33 right now. I should be investing. I mean, that's like the greatest. That would be like the greatest investment of all time. If you pin them down, they're going to have to tell you, yeah, silver's a long-term investment, and it is. It is a long-term investment. You do have price swings because it does move with inflation. So if inflation goes up, silver goes up. That's why it went up the other day or yesterday, because of the tariffs. And if the U.S. government prints a bunch of money, that causes inflation. Silver's going to go up. But you do have the price swings the other way. When they start dropping, you know, stop. When they start quantitative easing, you're pulling money out, silver's going to come down. When they start loosening up interest rates. And here's another con of silver, is when you do get to a certain point, you know, with your stacking journey, you have to have a safe place to store it, which means you're going to have to invest some money in one, at least to start, a good safe or a good place to put it, to keep it secure, you know. And you have to be careful how you store it, you know, because a lot of silver coins, you know, especially pre-2021, especially 2018, 2019, 2020, you know, even Canadian maple leafs were bad about milk spotting. So you have to, Morgan silver dollars, you know, you got to keep them in something. You don't want, once you get them, you don't want them to be scratched up, you know, even more than what they were when they dropped into the bank bags when they were minted. You know, that can be another con, is you do have to spend some money on a safe place to store it. You know, this is a funny story, and this is true. When I first started buying, I literally had a black leather backpack, and this is 100% the truth. Everywhere we went, I carried it with me because I didn't have a good safe. So I'm sure someone watching can relate to that. But I did. I kept it with me. Another con is you can get excited because it is so exciting to hold it in your hand. It's an amazing feeling, and you can overbuy. And what I mean is exactly that. I mean, you can go and buy you know, 5 ounces of silver because that's what you can afford, and you're like, oh, you see another coin, oh, you get excited and you buy more, and then bang, because you're paying a premium. And they're never gonna pay you what you paid. I mean, unless silver goes up between the time you bought it and the time you sell it. You're gonna lose money if you overbuy too many times. And in the beginning, I was very, very bad about that, overbuying, because I would get so excited. And I just wanted more and more and more. And the premiums, that's another con of silver, is you're always gonna have to pay a premium, no matter what. And it's all in how much of a premium do you want to pay. For some of these coins up here, you know, like some of these, I mean, I paid, you know, $70, $80 premium. You know, there's one up here. I think it's that one right there. No, it's not that one. This one right here. This one right here. This is a 1887S. This is a key date. It's a semi-key date, which means semi, you know, it's kind of rare. I paid, you know, $80 premium for that coin. So it's all in how much of a premium you want to pay. And in bigger, when you go to sell it, it can be sort of a hassle for bigger sales. Like if you're going to try to sell, like if I were to take all this on the table and go try to sell it all at one time, you know, that's going to be a hassle, you know. If I could do it in stages and it wouldn't be that big a deal. But if I took everything up here, you know, and said, okay, I need to get rid of all this tomorrow, that would be that'd be a nightmare. That would be just, I don't even want to think about it. So that are, you know, those are some of my pros and cons. One of the reasons why I like buying some of my coins from NGC, PCGS, is because there's no arguing. I mean, look at this coin. Hold on. No, hold on. There's another coin. I think it's this one right here. I mean, come on. I mean, you got this. I mean, that is just unbelievable, isn't it? But the reason, because there's no arguing with the date. There's no arguing. If like that coin, that's a very, very common date. But if it wasn't in that case, they would try to pay me 63 money for it. You know, 62 money. And that's one good thing about having them in the NGC PCGS holders, is there's no arguing with the grade. No arguing. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and please subscribe and leave me a comment if you have any questions or if there's anything you would like to see. Just let me know and I'll be happy to figure it out for you. And we got Cam Akers, Marvin Mims. I think I showed Keon. Here we go. We got Jamar Gibbs, Derek Stingley. Got a little bit of Devon Achane. And we got Mr. Aaron Jones. I'm at 27 minutes. I appreciate everybody watching. Y'all have a great night.